I was really, really ill. And part of the way I got through that was building up these kind of
She's
like
so beautiful.
psychological walls so that I couldn't feel. And then once I got healthy,
I'm not
I
processing
still had
anything
these
she's
walls
saying.
up.
Don't overshare, right? You could, men can talk themselves out of getting the cheeks, right? If she's replying to you, if she's willing to go out with you, there is a chance. Hallelujah, there is a chance for you to go deep inside. You want her to think of you as somebody who could provide what she's lacking. You can't spell life without L, right? So just take those L's, embrace it, and evolve, right? Don't sit in your crap forever. Evolve.
For people who are having trouble, because there are many people, I would say probably men in general have more trouble with seduction than women, probably. But do you have, say, 3 tips for people who are having trouble seducing other people?
All women need is the art of cleavage. That's it. That's it. That's all they need to seduce a man. It's unfair.
I don't have 3. I have 2 that come to
No, I'm not saying I want cleavage.
mind. Maybe a third will come to me in a few minutes. The first one is you have to be able to get outside of yourself. So, in this sense, seducing is very healthy. It means that normally where a lot of men go wrong, in particular, is they're thinking about themselves all the time. They're thinking, does she really like me? Am I really saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? I've got to try really hard to make sure that she actually likes me. And they're inside their own thoughts, their own world. And what they need to do instead, and this applies to women as well, is get inside the other person's world. That's the key to seducing them, to understand Mikhaila, her childhood, her needs, what she has and what she lacks in life, her weaknesses, her vulnerabilities,
Oof.
what will put a smile on her face, what will excite her. And so when you have that philosophy, you listen in a different way. You're listening to them with this kind of focus where you're picking up little cues that they say of things that excite them or repulse them, and you're kind of remembering them. And then later, days later, you say something that relates to something that they had expressed, and it reveals how deeply you were listening, and it's very seductive. Or you give them a gift that isn't necessarily expensive, but is tailored to something that they had said, some nuance that they had revealed in their conversation. It seems very personal.
Okay, so I actually read this guy's book, The Art of Seduction. 100% recommend it. But what he's saying right here is you don't have time to be all down in the dumps and insecure. There's no time for that, all right? You're human, she's human, you got your own shit. She got her own baggage too, right? What he's saying, and a lot of this is going to sound like manipulation. It's not, okay? Fellas, with great power comes great responsibility. But what he's saying is she has her own crap, so ask about it. Ask about her fantasies, her desires, her childhood, what she's lacking, what what she needs. Ask about all that stuff, right? Get beside yourself, right? You're on a mission. You have an objective. I don't know what your objective is, right? I take girls out because I just, I like their company. I like to have a good time. That's it. I have no objective. I just want to put a smile on a pretty young thing's face, right? Right? So that's why I know God could forgive me. But take this information from her and use it to your benefit. You want her to think of you as somebody who could provide what she's lacking. Let's continue.
So getting outside of yourself and getting into the spirit of the other person is probably the most important thing of all. The second one, which is related to the first one, is to lose your defensiveness, to lose your defensive qualities, to be open to the other person, to being vulnerable to the other person. A lot of people now in the world today are very defensive, and for good reason, because our lives are so stressful. We have so many things in our face, so many people bothering us, etc. And we kind of get really rigid and tight and defensive. And you can even physically locate it in our chest areas, etc. And the idea of being vulnerable, of opening up to another person, allowing them to have power over us, is actually frightening for a lot of people.
He's making a good point, right? You should lower your defensive and learn to be vulnerable, right? But that does not mean to get emotional and to overshare. You should be confident in being vulnerable. I'm not where I would like myself to be currently in this point of my life, but I'll let them know. I'll let them know that what has happened, what I got going on, and where I'm going. Right, and that's it. That's how you can be vulnerable. You say it like it is, but women need that security, right? If you've been down in the dust, if anything bad has happened to you, you have to put a period after all the changes you've made. Women will appreciate the fact that you shared, right? They could tell it in your tonality, and they can see it in your face that, yeah, you've been through some stuff, but like what superhero, what main protagonist hasn't, right? So that's a good thing. Now, you really don't want to get too emotional about it. You really don't want to just be whining all the time. You don't want to give them insecurity, right? If you're just saying how bad your life is, how the world is against you, right? How everybody's out to get you. That's not attractive. You look like a baby. If you can't you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of her? That's what she's thinking. Now, and don't overshare, right? Men can talk themselves out of getting the cheeks, right? If she's replying to you, if she's willing to go out with you, there is a chance. Hallelujah, there is a chance for you to go deep inside. However, you don't want to overshare. You don't want to talk about yourself too much. You don't want to be talking too much in general. Have her do the majority of the talking, get to know her. Make all these mental notes, save them, write them down in the notes in your phone later on. But just don't talk too much. Don't talk too much. Oh my God, you have it in the bag. You have it won. It is your battle to lose. So just be careful.
Them to have power over us is actually frightening for a lot of people, but it's unnatural. It's not human, because we have a tremendous need to feel vulnerable, to feel open to the influence of another person, to have that electrical current going back and forth. And it stems from our childhood, where we were so vulnerable to the spirit of our father or our mother, and it delighted us, right? There was a kind of bond between us, like between a mother, that transcends, you're almost a part of her in some way. And so that need to feel connected and to feel vulnerable is very human. And what happens with a lot of people is, as they get older and they accumulate pain and hurts from broken relationships, is they don't want to be vulnerable anymore because they don't want to have to go through that. But that means that the person that broke your heart, that made you vulnerable, has won, has defeated you, has made you turn into something that you don't want to become. So you have to be able to feel that you can be vulnerable, right? And if you're a seducer trying to seduce someone, revealing to that other person that you have fallen under their spell is almost the most seductive thing you can do, because it's deeply, deeply exciting to feel that that other person is charmed by us, right? But in order to do that, you have to be vulnerable to them. So those are the two keys. If I could come up with a third, but
No, that was good.
I'm kind of slowing down here.
Yeah, no, that was really good. I
Okay.
was quite ill for most of my life. I had
I
autoimmune
know.
disorders. I was really, really ill, and part of the way I got through that was building up these kind
She's
of like
so beautiful.
psychological walls, so that I couldn't feel. And then once I got healthy,
I'm not
I
processing
still had
anything
these
she's
walls
saying.
up, and it took me a number
Sure.
of years to start like shedding them. And it was so absurd. It was like I could feel when they went away, and I'd cry a whole bunch, and then I'd be like, okay, walls are lowering, walls are lowering.
It's great.
Hey, yo, no, not everyone's out to get you. Like, stop being afraid. Stop being a little bitch. Like, things didn't work out with your last relationship. Maybe you've had some traumatic things happen to you in your childhood. Maybe involved your parents. Look, there's an upside to life. You're not born and just immediately doomed. Okay, now you may have started. You may have not started straight at the finish line like everybody else, or 20 meters ahead. You might have started 50 meters behind, but yo, the race still goes on. If you're still drawing breath, the race goes on. So don't give up. Don't give up on people. I hate people. I hate people. I'm introverted as all heck. I don't like people. I don't like having to do the whole, courting dance, like, hey, how are you? Like, arranging date. To come up with nothing. Look, it's a numbers game. Life is just a numbers game, whether that's the women you go out with, or the jobs you apply for, your education. Look, you're gonna take L's. You're gonna take L's. Just get used to it. Get comfortable with it. That's what life. That's what the L in life stands for. L. Or you can't spell life without L, right? So just take those L's, embrace it, and evolve, right? Don't sit in your crap forever. Evolve. God gave us the sensation of pain so that we know what the sensation of pleasure is, what it feels to be successful, to win. And that is a beautiful, beautiful feeling. So get that W.